My name is Dennis Herning, APSA, MPSA, and I will be the judge for your reflections contest. Just remember that doesn't mean that someone else won't have a different opinion. It only means that what I say this time is the only thing that counts. I have judged a contest for you before, and here's a little bit about me for someone new or someone old like me that doesn't remember what I said at that time. The APSA behind my name means that I've been drafted or volunteered for service to PSA. I'm currently the director of the 365-Day Gallery, which is a program to help members get out daily to improve their photographic skills. The MPSA means that I've thrown a lot of money at international exhibitions over the years. Well, that's enough about me. Let's go on to the results of your reflection contest, since that is what you want to hear anyway. Entry. Lake Moraine, Canada. The overall smoothness on the lake gives a very nice reflection of the mountain behind. You have good detail throughout the image. The lower angle of the sun gives a nice golden color. You might have tried to move it to a different position so the view isn't blocked by the trees. A little burning might have been done to tone down the distant mountains. 9 points. Longing to escape. The reflection does seem to be holding the figure behind the glass. The white of the figure helps to draw the viewer's eye. I would like to see the reflection stronger across the figure. It would be hard to do that in camera since white overrides the details in the reflection. 9 points. UT School of Business. The reflection is so good that it is almost missed. I was trying to find something in the blue windows before I noticed it. The two buildings seem to be right next to each other. The three trees are also a nice touch. Odd number of objects are better than even-numbered ones. If you want to show this as a more obvious reflection, you might have tried to show a little more on the right side so that the reflection stops at the top of the reflecting building. 10 points. Third place. Skyward. I really like the angle that you used. It gives a more interesting perspective than if you had taken this straight on. The clouds are great. There seems to be some sort of halo around the building, especially at the top, which might have come from burning or dodging. You might try cropping off the building reflections at the bottom to see if you like that better. 13 points, second place. Reflection in Toledo. The lighting on the building and the darker items in the water contrast each other nicely. You might have tried to flip this vertically to add even more interest. A little different position could have been used to eliminate the little triangle in the upper right corner. 13 points, first place. Intermediate. Twice tilted. The monochrome treatment of the interesting gazebo was a good choice. It helps to keep the viewer's eyes on the subject. You might have tried a different position so you didn't have that log cutting through your reflection. Maybe moving closer and shooting over it, or you might have used a different focal length. The structure could have been lighter and some darging at the bottom of it could have helped. 9 points. Reflections. You were able to catch the fall colors at about their peak. The color in the trees complement the cooler color in the mountains nicely. For a contest on reflections, I would have liked to have seen the mountains included in the reflection. You might also try brightening the entire image with levels and playing with the brightness of the fall colors. 10 points. Out for a stroll. I really like the front goose and its reflection. It was a good catch. I would consider cropping out the furthest goose. It doesn't really add to your image since its reflection isn't complete. That would also give you an odd number of objects. 10 points. Chihuly's boat. The colorful boat is well placed in the image. The round sphere contrasts with the various shapes of the boat. I would like to see the reflections more dominant for this contest. Try eliminating the bright sky that tend to lead the eye out of the image. More contrast could be added to brighten the lighter areas with something like levels. 10 points. Twisted reflections. The water movement does create an interesting twist to the reflection. You might try cropping to make just that twisted reflection more dominant and include the bottom of some of the trees. 11 points. Lake Athens, winter 2017. I like the placement of the vegetation in the image. Keeping everything as a silhouette keeps a nice color in the water. The insects are also a nice addition. I might try to stop down the lens if possible to keep them more in focus. 11 points. Chinese New Year. Very colorful display. I like that you don't have this centered in the image. You might try this a little earlier in the evening so you still had some light in the sky. 12 points. Dallas City Hall. You have a good exposure on an interesting building. The pond is great for your reflection. You might have tried this a little earlier in the evening if you could do it without any foot traffic. There's a nice blue light in the sky that would have complemented the building's warm color if it had been more dominant. 12 points. In the clouds. Great image with the cloud patterns. I like the monochrome treatment, keeps the eye on the clouds in the window. 12 points. Honorable mention. Fall colors at McKee Pond in Marble, Colorado. You have a nice smooth lake for this landscape. I like the way the shoreline leads you into the background. Some clouds in the sky might have been given a little more interest. 12 points. Honorable mention. Blue reflections. I like the shape and detail in the building. The addition of the clouds and their reflection really make this an excellent image. 14 points. Third place. Reflections girl. This is great. The side/backlighting gives good definition. The reflection in the window with what looks like rain really gives a dreamy quality to the image. One suggestion would be to see if the out-of-focus dark area showing through the window could have been placed further to the left so the edge didn't get through the girl's face. 14 points. Second place. Testing the water. Maybe I'm becoming too much of a minimalist, but I really enjoy the simplicity of this excellent monochrome image. Showing any more of the bird would draw the attention away from the interesting toe in the water. Nothing more needs to be included. 15 points. First place. Advanced. Pelican at Lake Entrance, Victoria. The bright reflections do seem to make a picture. I might try cropping in to emphasize these more. The image could be brightened to lighten the white areas. Maybe you could, if you like, flip it so the pelican was swimming towards the right. 10 points. Dallas night, skyline with zoom-in effect. I like the effect. The city lights work well for this. To me, it looks like the focus might have been changed during the zooming. I would like to see both ends sharp. I'm guessing that you started with a wide-angle view and then zoomed out from that. You might have tried waiting a bit longer before zooming and then doing a faster zoom so the zoomed effect wouldn't be as bright. It seems to take away from the real thing. I know that I wasted a lot of quote-unquote film when I try something like this. 10 points. Bridge to home. The low angle of the sun gives you a nice golden light on the bridge. The ripples in the water give the reflection more interest. You might consider cropping the sky off on the left side. The wires don't draw much attention, but it could easily be removed too. 11 points. Reflection in the fountain. I do like seeing the whole building in the reflection. It shows up very nice since the building is well lit by the sun. The sunlit buildings across the top do seem to draw the eye away from the reflection. You might try cropping most of it off. You might be able to burn in the bright areas that still show below most of the shadows. 11 points. Tamsui Riverside. There are good patterns in the reflections. The boat adds interest. I would like to see it lower in the image so that it doesn't merge with the top. If it was lower, it wouldn't keep pulling the eye away from the reflection. 11 points. Ghost trees. The feathery reflections of the solitary trees make an interesting image. I would like to see the trees on the left with more fog cover, so the two trees on that right side were more separated from the background. 12 points. Maple leaf and reflections. The warm color of the leaf complement the cooler spots of the rest of the image. Patterns in the reflection are great. I might like to have seen the leaf further into the image instead of crowded in that corner. 12 points. Honorable mention. Old windmill. The golden lighting on the windmill and its reflection make for a very nice image. I would like to see the windmill placed on the other side of the image, so the lighter portion of the windmill and its blades were leading the eye into the image instead of on the side. 12 points. Honorable mention. Drawn into the vortex. This is great that the reflections and distortions in the window provide leading lines to the junction of the four windows. The details in the reflected building also add interest. You might try brightening your highlights to broaden the tonal range in it. 13 points. Third place. Poplar tree. Inverting the image make it more interesting than it was when taken. The patterns in the water give a great texture to the reflection. The light vignette helps to keep this a high-key image. You might try dodging to darken the upper right corner a little. 14 points. Second place. City of Dallas Nightscape, NWB 5954. The two arches frame the city lights nicely. I like the blue light that gave you some color in the sky. It complements the colors in the bridge. I also like the placement of the light on the back arch so it isn't hid by the one in front. What would you think about cropping in close to the lights on the right side? 15 points. First place. Master. Water drops. Using water drops give an interesting perspective. They act as miniature lenses showing inverted images of the background. I have a hard time seeing actual image reflections here. The big drop in the leaf definitely has a reflection on it. You could use a smaller aperture to increase your depth of field. The three drops on the bottom of the leaf are almost the only thing that is in focus. 6 points. Puddle. You do have a nice bouquet in the various out-of-focus light spots playing in the water. I'm not quite sure if this is a reflection of the leaves or if they are actually a silhouette with the puddle being behind them. 7 points. Canadian Lake Mountain Reflection. You managed to get a very nice lake for sharp reflections with nice colors. To me, the rocks on the side are too bright. It seems like there are two subjects competing, the mountain and the cabin. I would think that the cabin and canoes are the most interesting, while the mountain acts as a frame around it and could be more of a distraction. 10 points. Main bridge reflection. It looks like a beautiful spot for fall colors. You have presented them well. I don't know if it would have been possible to take this from an angle or further away and still gotten a reflection. To me, the bridge and its reflection seem to divide the image the way it is now. 10 points. Bowman Lake. Great clouds. I like the way that everything leads the eye to a point between the mountains. I'm not sure if the bottom portion is necessary since it is bright enough to draw attention from the rest of the scene. You might try this later in the day when you get more texture from the side lighting on the mountains. 10 points. Reflection impression. The colors complement each other well. I think that the branches make an interesting pattern on the colors. The sky does seem to draw too much attention and could be toned down. You might try flipping this to see how it looks to you. 11 points. Reeds and abstraction. I like the placement of the cloud reflection behind the bent reeds. I would like to see just the two bent reeds. A smooth surface might have eliminated most of the bright areas at the top. This is a case where probably less would have been more. 11 points. B-24 bomber, witchcraft. This is a unique point of view to show the aircraft. The reflection is like using a fisheye lens. I might have cloned out the bug splatters on the cover. What would you think about reversing the image to make the name legible? 11 points. Caddo Lake Brilliance. The colorful trees are nicely separated from the background. I do like using a vignette to keep the eye in the image, but I do like to keep it less noticeable by making it extend further into the image on a separate layer and then controlling it by reducing the opacity. This does seem to have a little clockwise tilt to it. 12 points. A reflecting pool. I like the use of the odd number of lights. The grouping adds to the interest. I like the complementary colors throughout the image. 13 points. Honorable mention. Double Trouble. I'm sure that everyone enjoys seeing this good image of a subject like this. It has great lighting and sharpness throughout. I would like to see a hint of a background and a light stroke or border to keep the image from disappearing into the background when it's projected. 13 points. Honorable mention. Reflection in the Trinity River. This was taken at a good time of day before the background sky got its deeper blue color. I like the three areas to the reflection. It allows the start of the reflection to be in the middle of the image. 13 points. Third place. Zodiac Cruise. I like the reflection even though the whole mountain doesn't show in the background. It's a great surface for the reflection. The bright color of the vest catches the viewer's eye and keep it from moving around the image. I might have liked the zodiac to be a little further into the picture so it was framed by the white triangle of snow. 13 points. Second place. Sunglasses. Interesting idea. It took me a while to see just what you had done. It must have taken a while to get everything set up just right. To me, the camera and other items in the reflection on the left don't really add anything. You might try cropping out most of that lens. 14 points. First place. Best of show. Testing the water. The reflection is perfect. Since it is a monochrome, there is no distractions by any color. There is nothing in this image that does not belong. Congratulations on being the best for this reflection competition. I would like to thank you for allowing me to be your reflections judge. I have enjoyed looking at your work. I am always inspired and helped when I do judge a contest. I hope that my comments are helpful to you. I don't expect everyone to agree with them. That doesn't mean that I'm always right or that I'm necessarily wrong. Don't give up on an image just because of my comments.